If you're writing on Medium, you probably want to reach readers. And if you're watching this video, you're probably not reaching as many readers as you would like. My name is Zulie Rain. I'm a product marketer here at Medium, and in this video, I'm going to show you 4 basic ways to increase your reach on Medium. So the 4 methods that I'm going to talk about in this video are adding up to 5 relevant topics to your story, finding and submitting to the right publication, really crafting your titles and aiming for around 7 to 10% click-through rate, and filling out your bio. Before we get into those, I want to quickly run through how the Medium algorithm works. This is a very TLDR version. If you want more, I'll include a much more detailed version in the video description. Medium recommends stories when we think a reader's going to like it. If you get a story recommended to you, it's because it matches something in your reading history, you follow the writer, you follow the publication, you follow the topic, or something like that. Something in the system and in your reading history says, this person's going to like this story. Then the reader decides to click on that story and to read that story or not. So this sounds obvious, but I want to make it clear that it's this 2-step process of Medium making the recommendation and the reader making the decision. Okay, now that that's clear, let's start talking about the tools that you have at your disposal. Let's start with topics. When you publish a story on Medium, you can add up to 5 topics to your story. When you start typing, it'll auto-populate with the topic, and you'll be able to see how many people on Medium follow that topic already. What you're aiming for is a mix between popular, but more importantly, accurate. So just to illustrate here, if I go to the pets topic page, I'll be able to see that there are over 200,000 followers for pet stories on Medium. However, for example, I would not recommend adding the tech topic to your story on Medium that's about pets, even though it has over 1 million followers, because all that's going to do is tell our system to show it to people who are into tech are not going to click on your pet story, so it's going to actually have an adverse effect on how your story performs. TLDR, go for popular, but above all, go for accurate. Okay, now let's talk about the second tool you have at your disposal, publications. You can submit to a publication on Medium that is roughly about the theme of whatever that thing is that you're writing about. There are publications on Medium about almost anything from snacks to intersectionality, science, literally anything. Publications help especially new writers, but also all writers on Medium, because they have their pre-existing set of followers who already are interested in that thing that you're writing about, and you know they are because they're following the publication. So I know that all 7,000 followers of Tasty Bowl followed it because they're interested in cooking, they're interested in food. So as a new writer on Medium, most people join with 0 followers. There's no shame. That's how everybody starts on Medium. But that means that it's especially important for new writers to submit to publications. As I mentioned at the start of the video, who follows you is an important component of how we recommend stories to people who we think are going to like them. Nobody follows you. That's a big part of the piece missing. You can get around that by submitting to a publication. So like I said, Tasty Bowl has over 7,000 followers. When you publish a food story to this publication, you're going to reach readers who are interested in food, who, even if they don't follow you, they're still going to be recommended your story. So how can you find a good fit publication? You can browse this list, huge list of publications accepting submissions. I've got more instructions on how to use that list here and the story linked. You can also just go to topic pages like food, for example, and just see what publications crop up frequently here. Once you have a couple publications in mind, I highly encourage you to check out the submission guidelines to understand what that editor is looking for their publication. Make it an easy yes for them, make it as easy as possible, and also follow the instructions that they've provided for how to get your story accepted into the publication. Okay, so we have talked about the first half of that equation, the 2 things that help Medium recommend your story to relevant readers, even and especially if you have very little followers to begin with. Now let's talk about the second half of the equation. How can you communicate the value of your story to the readers who are going to be likely to click on it? Because like I said, we can present your story to a zillion readers, but if readers aren't clear on why they should click on it, they won't. As you can see in my screen recording right now, I have 3 stories recommended to me. What you can't see is I have my cat on my right side and my phone on my left side. The world is full of distractions, and it's your job as the writer to show the reader why they should spend the time with your story and nothing else. There are 3 tools I want to show you for how you can improve your titles on Medium. The first one is something called presentations. So when you go to your stats page on Medium, you can click into any story to see how many times it was presented to readers on Medium. So this is a presentation. These stories are all being presented to me. All of these count as a 1 for those writers. And of those, how many actually clicked? So anything over roughly 7%, I would say, is good. Anything below 3% probably needs some work. So these numbers are generalizations. They're not going to be true for everyone or every niche, but just as a ballpark, something to aim for. So with this, I'm pretty happy with this feed click-through rate. This tells me that I'm reaching the readers who are clear on why this is useful for them. This one, less good, 2% feed click-through. So out of the 4,000 people that saw this, just about 100 click through to read it. I know why. It's because, well, I assume most of my readers are English speakers. I wrote this in Spanish because I wanted to practice my Spanish, but it means that there's not a huge amount of relevance. There's no good reason for readers to click on this. Understandable. So you have the information to see if your titles are doing their job, if they're getting readers to click. How can you come up with some good title ideas? Medium actually has two really interesting places of data where you can already see what titles are effective for the readers and the things that you're writing about. And they are, maybe no surprise, publications and topic pages. So any publication that you're targeting, I really recommend that you go to the archive. You can do this just by typing all to the URL, and you'll be able to organize by the most popular stories per year. Now, most popular is not just a factor of how good the title is, it's a factor of what was going on at that point in time. Overall, you'll get some ideas for the kinds of titles that work for the readers in this publication. So scroll through the publication archive of the publication that you're targeting and see if anything crops up to you that could help you draft a better title for the story that you're working on. You can do the exact same thing with any tag page, with any topic page here. So scroll down all the way to the bottom, click See More Stories, and here you'll be able to click 10 most read, and you can actually slice down to as granular as the month and see what's popular with tech readers or parenting, food, cats, whatever readers in the last month and see what's interesting to them. Again, this is not going to be a perfect one-to-one title. This is not going to be perfect, but it will give you some ideas for what titles could resonate with readers. Okay. Last but not least, let's talk about your profile. Our data shows that writers with a short bio get more followers than those with no bio, and writers with a longer bio, fully filled out one, get even more followers than those with a short or no bio. It makes sense. We're entering into this kind of trustless era where anybody can generate anything with the click of a button. So one thing that readers are looking for is a reason to click on your story. Anytime they mouse over your bio, they'll be able to see what you've said about yourself, and they'll use that information to try to understand, should I click on this story? Is this going to be worth my time, or is it going to be a waste of time? I would recommend that you fully fill this out. Include things like what you like to write about, what your lived experience is. If you have a website or a LinkedIn profile that you want to mention, feel free to throw that in. Add some personality just so they know you're a real person and that you like to write about these things. I fully encourage you to fill out your about page. You can format this, you can throw in pictures here. This will live on your profile so anyone can just mouse on over to your about tab to learn more about you. But in general, using this is a great way to get more followers on Medium and just making sure that your readers understand why you're writing about this thing and what value you have to offer to them. So those are the 4 tools. Like I said, they're pretty basic, but I'm always surprised by how many new writers especially don't take advantage of the tools that they have at their disposal to help their stories reach readers on Medium. Hopefully this was helpful. Every tip that I've talked about has its own guide. I'll link those all in the video description. And if you want a more detailed version of how the Medium recommendation system works, I'll include that in the video description as well. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this helps you reach the readers that you want to be reaching on Medium. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.